Beets in buckets. If you're in a temperate climate, it's a very relevant crop to be starting right now. Although this is part 2 of the series, you can actually start your beet buckets all the way up to 8 to 10 weeks before your first fall frost date. So with that in mind, in this video, let's grow out our beet buckets right to harvest and look at the small amount of maintenance that we got to do for this unbeatable crop. If you're just catching up, let's quickly recap the first beet bucket video. Start off by choosing a large bucket, at least 5 gallons and at least 10 to 12 inches high. Beetroot is a taproot and it needs the space to grow. Next, fill that pot 90% full with a quality organic potting or container mixture. Pre-soak the soil and we now have an excellent landing pad for our seeds. Beet seeds are unique in that they're actually a cluster of multiple seeds. As such, when I sow them, I do so quite diligently, about 1 inch apart, knowing that thinning will be necessary no matter what. Cover the seeds with a skim coat and you're golden. Not mentioned in the previous video, but right after sowing is likely the only time you're going to be able to get a mulch on. So right after you put that skim coat of soil on, that's when you're going to want to put about a 1/2 inch layer of mulch. Beets germinate fast, and as the clusters sprout, it's a great time to thin them. In fact, that's when most people do it. As soon as I discovered that beet leaves were essentially just charred and deliciously edible, I totally changed my thinning strategy. Instead of diligently thinning at the sprouting stage, I now let the seeds grow out a bit and thin the plants at a stage where the leaves can actually be harvested for food. As far as thinning, most varieties of beetroot need about 3 to 4 inches of space to grow to their maximum size. Clustering them together won't kill them, but don't be surprised to find smaller than typical beets. I don't fertilize my beet buckets through the entire process, especially since I start off with such a great potting soil. But even if I didn't start off with such a great mix, I probably wouldn't fertilize anyway. Because beets, like carrots, if you grow them in too rich of a soil, they can actually develop hairy bulbs. And a worse quality harvest. Beets are ready for harvest around 2 months after first planting. But unlike carrots, you can just look and see if you're happy with the size of the crop and act accordingly. One final note, if you're having trouble keeping the soil moist in your beet bucket, take a day and soak that bucket overnight from below. Really get that soil good and moist again. I tend to also do this about a week before harvest to really swell up those bulbs. One final tip about growing in buckets, because they're growing in a confined space, beets do tend to get stressed out a little bit more than if they're growing in a regular raised bed or in your garden patch. So they will actually bolt and send out flowers. If you see these guys, cut them off. It affects the taste and it affects production. Beets really are as easy to grow as they are nutritious. And being able to grow them in buckets and containers means not only do we have infinite places to grow them, but also that our fellow apartment and condo growers can easily grow one of the best root crops around. And you can't beat that. Terrible. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you're getting value in this and the other series that I'm doing on YouTube, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you in the next video.